welcome again to another episode of Pittsburgh Fringe Brunch. Yes, for those of you who did not see at home yesterday or have never seen the show before ever, I am Jenny Yasko, and I am usually hosting this virtually to bring some of my friends on the stream, talk about the virtual projects, all that stuff. But yesterday and today, we had a fantabulous time because we got to talk to the Pittsburgh Fringe. It is a Pittsburgh Fringe takeover on Brunch. It is so exciting. It is so fun. I have Shepherd's Gone Wild with me today, but before that, let's get me fed as per usual. I'm always hangry in the morning, so let's do something fun. So we are going to make some stuffed Yorick skulls. What a wonderful time. We're going to be using this amazing cake tray that I have. It's from Target. It's this great little thing. You put all of your stuff in here and it comes out looking like a skull. We'll show you how it looks in the end. It'll be great. So what I usually do for this, because I don't get like too fancy, there's too many things going on. This is cooking for the modern artist who just doesn't have the time to make their own dough. This is some Pillsbury biscuit dough. What I do is I keep the little triangle-y parts together and I just rip them into rectangles. You can make as many rectangles as you want. I'm only making 2 skulls, so I only need 2 rectangles. That little seam is gonna blend together once it's all cooked, so you're fine. But before I start, and don't worry, I washed my hands before this. See, I always use my hands to butter intricate little detail things like this because I feel like if I don't, it won't get in the nooks and crannies. It won't get in the nooks and crannies. Wordplay! Yes. I'm just getting in all the little teeth, all the little eye holes, all of that stuff going all the way up and around. I kind of feel like doing like little intricate stuff with my hands like this is why a lot of makeup artists use their hands to put on moisturizer and stuff. You gotta actually make sure it's going in all of the right places. And you didn't miss any spots. Poppy's very mad because she accidentally got some butter one time and now all of a sudden all she wants is butter. My little dog, if those who don't know my little dog. Now wipe my hands off. I have Cats in the Cradle stuck in my head because I was just watching The Office, so that's just blasting in my brain. So anyway. All of that good stuff is happening. We have this going. Great. All right. So, and like, don't worry about the little seam. Again, it'll blend together once it's all in. Once it's all in. Just kind of like, I like to tug them out a little bit, so it just gives me a little playing room. You don't gotta do that if you don't want to. Your mouth, you decide what you put in it. All right. So the bad thing about this not being a flat surface is that it's very difficult to keep on the oven. Also, I have preset my oven to 375. All right. Italian seasoning. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit in here at first. Throw some cheese. Chris, where are we streaming out to? Can you give me a rundown of the locations? Facebook. But like where? Give me a hot second, yo. Whoa! Okay. All right. So that's our Facebook up there. Great. Okay. Hi, honey. I was just checking to see which pages we were going out to, just to make sure we weren't missing anything. For some reason, I was having a really hard time connecting to the Pittsburgh Fringe YouTube for some reason. So that's Fringe. We're going out to their Facebook, so that's nice. Hey, y'all. All right. We got cheese in there. Good. I like pepperoni. So like these, if you're just a cheese lover, you could stuff these with as much cheese as you want to, but I'm a pepperoni lover, so I gotta put pepperoni in there. Whatever toppings you want to put on a pizza, you can usually just like throw in here and have it be fine. You're gonna get 3 pepperonis each, because that's what I've decided. Because I'm making the rules. All right, and 1 for me. All right. So we're shoving this back in here. I don't know why I'm having trouble streaming this out to their YouTube. I almost put our Italian seasoning in the fridge because I'm silly. For some reason, it keeps wanting to connect to like my personal YouTube every time I try, and I'm like, no. How about this one that I'm like, they gave me moderator powers over, and they're just like, your personal one, great. I'm like, no, great. So what I'll be doing is I'll be downloading this show and yesterday's show and just sending it to them for archival purposes for them to upload. They can do whatever they want with these. I'm gonna just butter the outsides, butter the butts. Butter their butts, butter their butts. I mean, what I could have done if I really wanted like a weird way to do it, I guess, I don't know, is to try and like put a phone up to the Facebook stream and then just stream it out that way instead of through StreamYard. I don't really know what's going on. This butter's gonna go away. We're gonna. Also, if we heard my dog screaming earlier, it's because when I went over to Chris to check over the streaming locations that we were going to, Poppy decided it was the best time to run directly at my feet as I was walking. She's very small, so all of a sudden it was just chaos in the house. All right. So you put these in here for like 20 minutes. Here's the thing. We don't have 20 minutes for me to stand around and wait and all that stuff. So what I did ahead of time, this morning I made some. This is what they look like, all finished and cool. This is what they look like, all finished and cool. Okay. And the really fun thing that you can do with these, I love them, is you can make them go, wah, wah. These are great for Halloween, but they're also great for any sort of Shakespeare thing that you're doing or any old-time thing where you need to soliloquize. Alas, poor York. All right, so I'm going to get these set up over in my little kitchen area. What we are going to do now is just watch a little bit of information about the Pittsburgh Fringe that has been happening since like May 6th. Yes, May 6th. But like details on what it was, what's going on this year, how it's all virtual. There's actually an award show happening tonight that I will plug later. But for right now, I'm going to plug these into my mouth hole and plug my butt into a seat, and you're going to watch this. Great.
Welcome to the 2021 Pittsburgh Virtual Fringe. It's been a hard year since spring of 2020 when the Pittsburgh Fringe was among the very first fringe festivals in the world to go virtual. We are very proud of how quickly we adapted last year, and we are very proud of our substantial lineup of performances this year. We are especially happy to welcome virtually so many international performing artists alongside our amazing local and national shows. Perhaps we are most proud that this year the Pittsburgh Fringe has decided to not charge any of the artists and to not collect any percentage of the ticket fees. So any ticket money that you give to the artist will 100% be going to the artists. I'm also very thankful to my team. First of all, to my friends and family who gave me so much time to allow me to help put this festival together, and to Emily. And without her hard and dedicated work, this festival would not have happened. I also want to thank Michael for helping us get this new back end of the website together. I want to encourage all of our virtual guests to be generous, if you can, to our artists who have suffered an unprecedented year of professional hardship. And we are really doing this for them. So if you can give generously to our artists, that's what we're here for, and that's why we're putting this virtual festival together. We want to help the artists. Also, as part of the Pittsburgh Fringe, we are so looking forward to all the wonderful shows that are being presented here at the Pittsburgh Virtual Fringe. There's over 50 shows of all sorts of genres and ratings, all sorts of topics that are covered. I think everyone will find several shows that would be very interesting to watch. If you're having trouble, where do I start with 50 plus shows? We started an artist chat series this year, so you could go look. All of our social media and our YouTube channel has all of those interviews up. We're actually still producing a couple, but that might be a great way to get to know the artist and to find out if that show is the right fit for you. There's also a lot of previews and lots of information on the website. So just take a gander and look through that. I'm sure you're going to find something that you're interested in. And the great thing about Fringe festivals is the best way to view a Fringe festival is just to dive in and try something, even if you don't think you'll like it or you're not sure if you'll like it. Fringe is also about experimental audience members taking a chance on all these new and different shows that are happening at the Fringe. So once again, I want to welcome you to the Pittsburgh Virtual Fringe for 2021, and I hope you enjoy this weekend of so many shows. Thank you for joining us.
Hooray! Oh, we love a festival that gives back to artists. But please, please welcome our final guest for the Pittsburgh Fringe Takeover Weekend. Yay! Hello!
Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning! How are you doing this fine day?
Doing well. And thank you so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to this all week and just very excited. Very excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you on the show. Please give the audience at home your little elevator pitch.
Gotcha. My name is Joey Moranto. My show is called Shepherds Gone Wild. It's about four mediocre comedians, I guess you would say, who's basically come to the end of their dreams, their Hollywood dreams, and have to face some harsh realities here. And they decide to go ahead and end their careers on their own terms. It's quite an interesting show. It comes from a lot of my personal experiences, and it really put a lot into the show. And I'm very happy. And thank you for having me to promote it.
Of course. Now, was this a show that happened pre-pandemic on stage, or was this made strictly for the virtual world?
It did. And in fact, it goes all the way back to my youngest child. Anybody that has children out there who is a big fan of the Wiggles, and of course, anybody that has kids out there, you'll know that with little kids, you either stop at. We were going down to my dad's place for Christmas, and you either stop at a gas station to eat or use the restroom, and all of a sudden we were listening to a Wiggles CD, and on came this one character called Captain Feathersword. And I don't know if any of the folks out there are familiar. It's a pirate, and he tickles people with a long feather sword. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this kind of sounds a little kinky here. I don't know, for kids. And then I started thinking, I go, wouldn't it be interesting if these writers, actually wrote some stuff that, went over the kid's head, but yet entertained the parents? And I started thinking, and one thing came to another. And like I said, after, we'd stop for these breaks, I would search around the car for menus, wrappers. I just started writing ideas down, writing. And I just started piecing it together. And then I started coming up with the different conflicts. What would be the ultimate conflict that, that would put them in that situation to go ahead. And I came up with in the early part of when the stand-up bubble burst in 1995, they were performing improv, and this chief operating officer of a religious broadcasting station spotted them, loved their talent, and wanted them to do a children's television show. And so they're hired on the spot, and they figured, hey, this is a great way to get into, pursue the Hollywood dream. They all wanted to get on television, so they figured this is a stepping stone to do it. They go ahead, and 30 years later, they're still in the same place. And that's where, they finally hit their midlife crisis. They realize it's the end of their road for their Hollywood career. So early on in the show, my character, it was a few years before the actual conflict happened. He was, feeling a little creative and decided to write an adult version of the children's television show. And they figured, and by chance he was able to come across it. And here they are, their show ends up getting taken off the air because of low ratings. So they had about 1 or 2 more shows. So they said, you know what, let's do a show. My character showed the rest of the cast the scripts and said, hey, you know what, we're going to go out on our terms. We're going to go out on our style. And so the whole thing, they write this sort of suggestive, I guess you would call, children's episode, and the craziness starts from there. And it's a real good underdog story for those that really like underdogs.
Yes, this sounds so much fun. It also sounds like, especially because it has this sort of vibe of kids who liked the Wiggles a long time ago and now are grown up might also really enjoy the show. So I feel like it has sort of a nostalgic type of vibe to it, but also like it's for adults. So that sounds really fun.
It is. Well, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And then that's why, whether you're a kid, whether you grew up with it, whether you're a parent and had to sit through these things, and I think everybody will, and I wanted to make it entertaining and just to for people out there to enjoy. That's why I made my show this year free. I think over the last year and a half, this pandemic has taken a toll, not only the Fringe community, the theater, just performing arts. And I think people are really, really want to get back into seeing performance again. And I think it's very, very important to do that. So that's why, like I said, I just put it out there. And anybody that wants to get entertained, I encourage them. And not only my show, all the rest of the shows, and support the artists out there. And like I said, the folks at the Pittsburgh Fringe did a phenomenal job. I really, my hat's off to them. They, everybody behind the scenes to put this together, they've done a phenomenal job. And as well as the artists and having the community come together. And we just need to be entertained. And this is a great vehicle to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Really, Pittsburgh Fringe did a top-notch job putting this whole thing together. Thank you all so much for doing all of this for us. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. Are there any shows that you've seen, other shows at the Fringe that you really enjoyed?
I have this weekend. I wasn't able to catch the live, but I'm going to go be checking it because I know they have a lot of the on demand. And that's one thing as a performer too, I love, and you mentioned this before, is I love seeing different works of art, because I came up in the stand-up comedy business, and stand-up's pretty straightforward. And then when the bubble burst, everything sort of, the comedy died down. And the one thing I love about the Fringe is that it allows just so much creativity, and there's something out there for everybody. And as an artist, it allows you to take different avenues that you might not have gone in the past. And it's just a wonderful, it's very supportive community. I know not only just the artists, but the people that come out to see the shows, very supportive. It's a wonderful community to be part of. And I'm really glad I am part of it.
For sure. And I love that you're so excited to be a part of this community too, because there are so many people that get wrapped up in their own shows that are just I'm focused just on me, and I'm not going to have time to do anything else, because they overbook themselves, they overextend themselves. So I'm really happy to hear that you're super into watching the other shows and all of that fun stuff too. It's good, yay, good.
Well, and one of the reasons I do, and believe it or not, when I first started out and I'll be very honest, it was a strange transition going from stand-up to a theater setting, because I'm so used to stand-up. And I'll be very honest with you, the first show I ever did, I got torn up by the reviewer too. And I mean, part of it was a little meanness, but some of it, I could see, and it was just it was a learning experience. But, I think one of the things that the reason I'm here today is that you always have that support from people in the community. Hey, you keep going forward, keep doing it, and you get a tremendous amount of support. And as an artist, you put yourself out there. Especially on a stand-up stage, it's you against the room, and even on a theater stage, you're out there performing, and you put your heart and soul into something, and you really want everybody to entertain it. So to be entertained, and you want to give them the best product, but it is a learning process. This show I had, you had asked before, is it something that I've had it? I guess well over 10 years I've been developing it. Yeah. At one point, I put it on the shelf for a year and a half because you get so burned out, but then you pick it up again and you have new, and then you get feedback, and it just comes to what it is now. And it was funny because I taped it because I couldn't get a venue, so I taped it in my basement and everything, and I just had a wonderful time. I taped my iPhone to an old camera iPod tripod, and just, I mean, it was bare bones, but I had a blast doing it. And I just hope the people out there that get a chance to see it have a good time watching it.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like such a super fun show. So I'm very excited to sit down and watch it for sure. And my co-producer over here, Chris, who's doing my screen managing, she also loves this kind of thing. We love shows that like are for children, but really are like for the parents, and the kids get wrapped up in the fun songs. But it's the parents get to sit there and have a great time too. So we're all about that life. So very excited. But this is something that I always ask all of my guests. We always have these like bonding experiences that we talk about at like either Fringe after parties, or like something will happen during a rehearsal. It's like, oh my God, this reminded me of this one time where it went much, much worse than right now. We all have our onstage horror stories, but we've also had a whole year of pandemic, so we've also had virtual horror stories. One of mine that I've talked about a few times on Bar and Brunch is I was in like middle school. I was in this terrible ripoff of the Addams Family called The Creepy Creeps of Pilgrim Road. And there was one point in the show, and it was a musical, where the person who was supposed to come on and interrupt me in the Gomez character, because I was playing the Morticia character, she just like was changing backstage or something. She just didn't come on. And I, having no improv experience, and this like kid who was 2 years younger than me, we had to like improvise a whole thing to do things. And I was, again, like 12 at this point, so I had no idea what was going on. But it turns out the girl who was supposed to come on had seen it and liked it so much, she started like purposefully not coming on for the rest of the run. To the final point where the final performance, we actually heard like a scuffle happening backstage where they were trying to push her out. And she's like, no, they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. And we're just like, what do we do? So that is one of mine. If you have any that you would like to share, please feel free.
I've had some interesting stuff in stand-up. I mean, nothing too, I mean, of course, you got your drunks and everything. I used to be a house MC, and I've opened up for people like George Lopez, Lewis Black, who, as intense as he is on stage, one of the nicest performers, quiet guy, very nice guy off stage. Larry the Cable Guy, when he was just starting out, he was a talk show call-in at 98 Rock in Baltimore. And some of the, I remember one time, because I used to have to work the door and was the house MC, so people didn't think I was a comic. And I was going up on stage one time, getting ready to start up the show, and somebody pulled me aside and they go, I need butter here. And I go, well, I'm about to get on stage to start up the show. And they go, but I need butter. And they just wouldn't take. So they're looking for me to get on stage. I run backstage, grab a pat of butter, throw it on the table, and run on stage. So it's little stuff like that. But it's just, I mean, that's the art of performing, and you pay your dues. And you know, as you can tell, little gray in the tooth here is when you look back on this, especially my age, I think one of the things that I never realized is how much fun it was as you go through this experience. And I tell everybody out there that's watching this, cherish everything. It's just, I mean, some of the stuff you look back on, it's why even the ups and downs, and especially as a performer, anything that you see out there, I mean, just enjoy it all. It's all part of the ride.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. When adapting this into a virtual format, was there anything that you didn't think would be like difficult, but all of a sudden, oh my God, you now have to think about this as well?
Yeah, I'm really not tech savvy, so I was searching how to, because everybody tapes everything on their iPhones, and even it's funny because sometimes, like, one of my characters, it says, you know, does life imitate art? Does art imitate life? And I talk about, you know, I'm old school. Back when I used to do stand up, and this shows you how old I am. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have anything out there. You literally had to take a camcorder, videotape your set, transfer it to a VHS tape, and give it to a booker. I mean, that's the way you got booked before. And I was trying to figure out the iPhone, looking up how to edit in iMovie, and I know the reverse screen, and because I was the only one taping it, so I was like, I got to perform and tape it, and I did the reverse screen, and that's how I basically did it. So I was just learning by luck on the way, and like I said, if something worked, and I do have some props in my show, so I kept it, and like I said, it was in my basement here, so I was just trying to learn. And the funniest thing is, Jenny, is I was so nervous about it coming, you know, I was like, I got to pull this together. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to do what feels naturally. And when I started doing that, the whole thing came together, and I got it in one take, and I was real happy with it. And it was a great experience. It was crazy, but it was, and I actually taped my my iPhone to a tripod, an old camera tripod. So that was, yeah, I was going bare bones on that.
Oh my God. I know what that's like. When this whole pandemic started, I had like not a lot of streaming experience basically at all. And like I had to go through a crash course real fast to like get up to speed as to what we were doing. Because one person that I had done a lot of box office for, he had moved his kids show almost immediately online within like the first week of lockdown. So he was like, can you do like my online screen managing? So I had to learn how to do that. I had to get Zoom. I had to do all of this stuff. I know what that's like. Oh my God. Is there anything that you think works better in your show in the virtual version, or something that you didn't even think of before that now you're going to incorporate into the in-person version that you only thought of like now?
Yeah, and this is weird because when I true story here, this show gives you a little bit of background. How I became a stand-up, I don't even know how. If you would have asked me as a kid, that would have been the last thing. I was so shy as a kid. We were in elementary school. True story. They were taking roll. I was so scared to speak out. They called my name and I raised my hand. She didn't see it. I was so scared to speak. They marked me absent. It was a substitute. And then the teacher came back the next day and goes, weren't you in class? I go, yeah. And they go, why didn't you say anything? And I was just so shy. But, leading me to the stage here, I get very nervous on stage. I mean, once I'm up there, I can do it, and I feed off the nervous energy. But when I first started filming it on the iPhone, it was weird because I was looking, because when I have a focal point in the room when I go ahead and perform on stage, and I was looking at that and it looked goofy on the iPhone. And I was like, oh, so I had to stop it and take it again. And I figured, when I look into the iPhone, it made it more personal. And I was like, wow, that really worked. And I said, I really want to start doing more of that on stage, sort of like to the stand-up when you talk to the audience, really connect. I know once you're on theater stage, you have to perform for the entire, but I think making it more personalized, that's one thing I learned out of that was really, really want to take to the stage once we ever get back on stage.
Yes. Oh my God. I love that. I love the weird realizations that we all have been having during the pandemic about shows that we already have. It's like, wait, this could actually work better. And I only found that out when I was doing it on camera for some reason. So I love that we've all had these like little light bulb moments about our shows. I love that. I love that so much. Is there anything else that you want the viewers at home to know about your show at Pittsburgh Fringe, or any upcoming shows that you might have outside of the Fringe? Anything like that? Anything you want to plug? Feel free.
Okay, sure. I have two things here. And one of the things is, as you were talking about virtual, one of the outlets that it's given that I think is really excellent is, like, especially since I'm on the East Coast here, now that everything is virtual, either it's if it's a on-demand show or if it's a live stream, is you're able to move across the country, especially since everything's online, and play, because I'm playing Big Sky Fringe and Minnesota Fringe. And I mean, typically I wasn't able to do that before, but now, this virtual format, although it's not, being on stage live, it still opens up opportunities. So, you could take something negative and turn it into a positive. One other thing I do want to let everybody know is that the show that's streaming here at the Pittsburgh Fringe Festival, I actually wrote a television pilot on it. And over the last year here, I've entered it into screenplay contests. And so far this year, I've made it to the semifinals of the 25th Fade-In in Los Angeles screen competition, as well as the New York International Screen Competition. And then I made it to the quarterfinals in the Boston and the Atlanta screenplay competition. And I've got about 18 more. So
yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Oh my God. Yay. Congratulations for all of that. Oh my God. You're crushing it right now. This is great. Do you have any advice for anyone who's like stuck still kind of in a creative slump? They were stuck all year, and now that the world is either like opening back up a little bit, but also we're still doing virtual like full blast. Do you have any advice for those people?
Just keep pushing forward, keep having faith, find little sparks of inspiration. I know when I saw the Pittsburgh Fringe come online and it was virtual, there was something up into that. And I was going through exactly what we were talking about right now. And all of a sudden I saw that, I go, that would be great to be in. And there was just like a spark of inspiration. So keep at it, keep being persistent and wait it out. And like I said, something's going to just drop out and it's going to inspire you. And once you get that, take that inspiration and go with it. Like I said, I am having a blast with you right now and doing this to Pittsburgh. I wish it wouldn't end this weekend, but you know, I just hope all the performers have great performances. And once again, Jenny, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful morning.
Of course, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yay. Yay. Thank you for coming on. Ah! Oh my God, what a fun interview. I love starting my days off with really fun interviews. Thank you, Joey, so much for coming on. The links has been scrolling at the bottom. That is Joey's like event page and Instagram, I believe, as well. Great. And we also posted that in the comments. So we have a clickable link version for you to go in the comments. That's great. Wonderful. The awards show for the Pittsburgh Fringe is happening tonight. Also, there are other shows happening tonight. And the on-demand shows are going to last for the rest of this month, I think. Someone correct me if I'm wrong about that. Feel free. Next week, of course, we won't be streaming this at Pittsburgh Fringe channels. We'll be back to just streaming it on the Sour Grapes channels. But we won't have a guest because it is our announcement of the So Many Shakespeare's participants. Yes, we have another festival coming up. So that's going to be very fun. That's going to be a great time. But again, let's just ride out the end of this Pittsburgh Fringe right now. Just keep watching the Pittsburgh Fringe shows. Support Pittsburgh Fringe. Again, they didn't charge any upfront fees to submit or to be in. They didn't charge anything. They didn't charge anything. Not getting ticket sales from anybody. They're not like charging an amount to be in the festival. They are doing a stellar, spectacular job behind the scenes, getting everything set and ready. So yeah, and happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. Chris and I already did our Mother's Day stuff, so we're gonna take a nap, and then we're gonna go work at our theater space because we don't stop. Again, thank you, Joey, so much for coming on the show. It was such a fun talk. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for watching at home these past 2 days. I appreciate y'all as well. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Sunday. Happy end of Fringe Day.